As I mentioned in the Nightmare Before Christmas video, I'm trying to clean off my bench. Some of these builds have been sitting there for a while in very early stages of work, and this is one of those. I've wanted to redo this jet threat. You may recall I did one of these earlier this year, and I think in that video I even showed this one with the other one when I was trying to decide which one I was going to do at that time. But I always wanted to get to this one and do it as a Batmobile because it looks like a Batmobile to me. But I've mentioned before, it seems like I can look at almost any car and I see a Batmobile. But this one is different. This one really looks like a Batmobile. So that's what I'm doing. This one was in rougher shape than the other one. Obviously, it had been repainted. I don't think it was kid painted. I think this might have been adult painted. Maybe adult painted for a kid. Let's say that. But it looks like it was originally blue, as you can see there when I took it apart. The body needed quite a bit of cleaning up, and I wanted to get rid of those molding lines on the side. You know, they're in the design, but I want to put a bat there. So I want that to be smooth. So there was quite a bit of body work in eliminating those lines, smoothing out the sides. Off camera, I actually had to bend down slightly one of those front points on the fenders because it was way off. Well, it was off. Maybe way off is an exaggeration. But it wasn't straight. So fix that, clean up the rest of this thing. At this point, I've got it pretty clean. I go over it a few times also with the Dremel buffs that I mentioned in one of the short videos, the Scotch-Brite type rotary tool pads. And those really give it a good look. So, and really get it ready for paint. So this is after I had filed that down and then gone over it again with the buff. I throw it in IPA to clean it off. And I do go over it with the blue paper towel once I pull it out of here. But I let it soak for a little while in the IPA just to try and get rid of any grease or anything I don't want on there when I go to paint it. You may recognize the paints I use. Basically, I painted this one at the same time I printed that bone shaker in the previous build. Same group of paints. They all worked pretty well. Here you see it. And I did design the bat for the sides of these. It's a two-part decal. The white decal goes down first. I kind of screwed up in designing it because I printed the white decal, and then when I printed the red center, I did it as a percentage reduction, like at 98%, I think. Might have been 95%. And what you'll see in the end results is the white border on the edges of the wings is kind of the way I wanted it to be all the way around the decal. But because of the proportions of the decal, that didn't quite work out. And then after I was done, naturally in retrospect, I realized I should have just printed a uniform border around it rather than trying the percentage reduction approach. And that I'll do that next time. It's a little late for this time. But here you see the jet engine section. It has a post on it. It's actually the only post I will put a screw into on this casting. The other one is under the seat, the driver's seat, and is an insanely short post. So I chose not to use that one. This one is actually strong enough. And I realized that when I did the previous jet threat. On that one, I had also glued the front post, and it really didn't need it. For that center jet engine, this one was much more worn than the other one. I wanted it to have not a dirty look, but I wanted it to have the look of a functioning jet engine in use, not something that's just a highly polished museum piece kind of thing. So I highlighted some areas on that, went over it with Nuln Oil, highlighted some other areas. In preparation for this stuff, again, I just went over that with one of the Scotch-Brite type buffs with the Dremel, and then added this to it because that metal look is really what I want under all of this. So there was no reason to paint it silver or something like that and lose the natural metal look, which is where I wanted to start anyway. Same thing for the base. On the base of this, and here you kind of see the direction I'm going with the jet engine. Same with the base though. With the base, I didn't want to stray too far away from the original jet thread. I want this to be a resto mod, not necessarily a full custom kind of thing. So I didn't paint the base. I could have painted it black. I chose not to. I could have polished it like I did on the previous jet thread. Didn't want to do that. Here you see what I did. I just polished it, or went over it again with that Scotch-Brite type pad, added some details to it, and then put a flat clear coat over it. And I'm really happy with the results on that. Off the top of my head, I don't recall what these little quick bearings that Bright Vision sells are. This is the second time I've fought using these. I wanted to give them another try and see if I would fumble around less with them now than I did the other time. And I'm not sure that I really like these things, to be honest. It almost seems to me it'd be easier just to throw an axle through there and use the 3D printed bearings that I've used before. But I went that way with this. I did get the replacement glass from Second Chance Redlines. As is kind of typical with replacement glass, this one was a tough fit, which isn't odd. I should have warmed it up a little bit before I did this. I thought about it, and then I thought, no, I'll just get it in there, which was kind of stupid. Warming it up, I'm sure, would have made it a little easier to go in, but once it's in, it's in. There's not a lot to this casting otherwise, because it's just the base and the top, and then that jet engine section holds it together, as you see up there at the top. The reason the inside seems so clean, I had put tape on that to hold it with the helping hands as I was painting. So that's why that section on the base seemed extra clean, because I didn't have any other really easy way to hold that base for painting, for the clear coat and stuff. So that just seemed like, or not the clear coat, but the black paint and then the clear coat. So that's the reason it was that way. It's actually the body that had that clear section that was masked off, because the body itself, the only post it had was that super tiny one under the back seat. And again, these were 172 screws I used on this because of the small post. So there's where we started. Another look at that poor little beat to hell Redline that's been sitting on the bench for a while waiting to be finished up. And I finally got to it. I'm just trying to tidy things up here at the end of the year. Trying to at least try and go into the start of the new year a little more organized, or maybe at least by the end of January, be a little more organized. So there you see it. There's the Jet Threat Batmobile. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the paint turned out really well on this. And there you can see the white outer edges of the wings on the bat. I wish I had had that same thin white border all the way around the bat. But at least it has it on the edges of the bat wings. And you do see it like under the wings there a little bit, and it just could have been more defined. But there you have it. I hope you all like this build. Thank you very much for watching. And here's some glamour shots. Everyone stay safe and healthy out there. I hope you have a wonderful new year. And I'll catch you in the next one.